Believe me when I say it. I hate to say it. Dynasty denied. Winnipeg Blue Bombers lose a third straight Grey Cup game after winning back-to-back. And it was a tough one where the score not indicative of, I would say, the play most of the game. We're going to get into it all. Welcome inside Game Day After Dark. Grey Cup Game Day After Dark. Grey Cup 111. Darrin Bauming, Zach Schnitzer. We're here live in person in the Grey Cup City. And I'm sitting next to a Blue Bombers fan. This is our dichotomy, if you will. Small J Journo, super fan here that bleeds blue and gold. And I can't imagine how it feels to be a fan of this team and to, suffer defeat in your heart and in your mind. Aside from the great piece you wrote on, great personal piece you wrote on BonfireSports.ca about your father. But I'll digress from that if we can. I was thinking about you, in those final moments of the game. But the reality is what we saw today was a Blue Bombers team that was not as good as their opponent. And again, I can't imagine what it's like to be a Bomber fan and see that third straight Grey Cup game slip between their fingers.
Absolutely gutted, buddy. I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of shell-shocked. If you would have told me before the game started that the Argos were going to win, I wouldn't have been shocked. I would have been maybe a little bit surprised. Mm-hmm. I don't care about what the Vegas line was, like 9.5, 9 points. I mean, that doesn't matter. They're just trying to get money in. They're just, they wanted Toronto bettors to come in or other bettors, right?
Bombers were 8.5 point favorites against Montreal. Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, they won on the final drive. That was different.
It doesn't matter. But what I am surprised about is that the Bombers got their asses kicked, Darrin.
Yep.
They really, in all three phases of the game, absolutely got shit kicked. And my first impression of it is they were out-coached today. And I hate to say that.
It wasn't the case early, though. Ryan Dinwiddie deciding to kick a field goal on 3rd and goal at the 1 was a horrid mistake. And Winnipeg marched the field and scored the first touchdown of the game. That was a great momentum swing.
Yeah.
But get into where Winnipeg wasn't or was outcoached.
I mean, and I'm not an X's and O's guy. Like, I learn every game. I learn every season. People I talk to. I go on the fan forums, right? But game plan. It for me, it was all game plan. Why are you stealing the mic from me?
I just turned it up. I'm hoping
you always want all the attention, Darrin.
Hit up the live chat. Let us know how you can hear us. Obviously, doing the show from a hotel room. It's been a lot of moving pieces. So yeah. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to see if it'll just work like this.
Oh, okay.
How can you guys hear us? Let us know. Hit up the live chat.
I see Rathwell's on there. That guy makes me smile. Listen, this was... Let me just do broad strokes first. I wrote a piece for our website, Darrin, about the fact that, this was... my dad passed in 2017, and he always spoke glowingly about the dynasty of the 80s. 84, 88, and 90. Now, you can argue whether it was a dynasty or not, but the Bombers won 3 Grey Cups. And he spoke about it glowingly. And it coincided with a couple things. One, that was before he was chronically ill. And so it was like this golden era when I used to think about, before shit got really bad in my family. And he was chronically ill for 30 years and died. But I thought, this time, maybe I will live through a dynasty and be able to tell my kids about it, and all will be right in the world. And, not that my dad could come back to life, but that hope and sort of golden era could come back to life. And so they didn't do it today. And I'm gutted. And all I can think about is maybe my dad was trying to teach me a lesson that the wins and losses, the dynasty, the golden era, whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you get to enjoy your team, and it's an excuse to get together.
It's an excuse to elicit emotion, right?
Listen,
the highs and the lows.
The highs and the lows. We lost my mother-in-law this year to cancer. We lost Teddy Wyman to cancer. You know, they wouldn't want us to mope and be depressed for weeks and weeks and months.
Yeah.
What matters is that, yeah, Teddy. I didn't know him too well, but just everything I hear, he was just a phenomenal guy. And good job on the stickers.
You would have loved him. He would have loved you. I know that.
I know.
Yeah.
It's sad, and I guess I can't control the outcome of the game, Bomber fans, and of course you feel gutted and heartbroken and even sick, even angry about not just losing, but getting your asses kicked. But what we can control is our reaction, and then maybe you don't feel it right now. I don't know if I do. Part of me does. But I am grateful that you and I get to do the show.
Yeah.
We get to sleep in the same bed in a hotel room.
You're sleeping on this couch.
Yeah, baby. It's a king-size bed. It's all good. By the way, did my CPAP
Alaska
keep
King.
you awake?
No, it's pretty good.
Okay. What matters
And
is,
you know what? We also get to be here for all of you, and you guys get to be here for us, right?
Yeah.
You are the fire starters. You guys, like, I don't care if you're watching this for 30 seconds tonight. I don't care if you have never seen this show before. You're a part of the show. This is why we do it. You're in the live chat, or you're out there, you're listening, you're watching. We are experiencing this together, right? We're gathered around the bonfire. We're enjoying it. And if I can interject, as you know, you share a real heartfelt, thing. And I encourage people to read your story on BonfireSports.ca. It was heartfelt. It resonated with me in a lot of ways. But you mentioned how you'd hoped it was a dynasty that you'd be able to tell your kids about, right? And you got a beautiful family. A beautiful family. You're a very lucky guy. And, I don't have children. Like, I probably won't have kids to share that with. So it's all about perspective. It's all about, having gratitude for what you do have, the good things that you do have. And you know what? Schnitzy, everyone out there, they're going to be able to tell their friends, their family, their kid, whoever is important in their life. Or maybe it's a stranger and you make a new friendship out of this, or out of Blue Bombers fandom. You're going to be able to tell them about how big a moment it was, how special it was, how you learned a lesson. You said, hey, this is, maybe my dad telling me something, right? Yeah. So I think fans, there's so much energy, there's so much passion. It's an overused term, especially in Winnipeg, the whole fueled by passion in True North, right? But that passion, that fire, that energy, however you want to describe it, it's so palpable and real. But at the same time, we do have to remember that it is just a game. This is professional sports. It's entertainment. Yes, it's a big part of our lives, as a fan or as a media member, but it is a game and you can learn lessons, right? What does Mike O'Shea say? You either win or you learn. And while, this week he told me, he's like, well, I don't know if you learn more from losing than you do winning. He said he would, maybe question that. I just think it's a harder lesson to learn when you lose.
I'm sick of learning, though. I got to be honest, Darren. Like 3 Grey Cups in a row to lose and to be favored. And I know the betting lines are, whatever. But to be favored, like Toronto, Montreal, Toronto, all underdogs. Mm-hmm. We lost to all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the last play in the first 2 Grey Cups in 22-23. This game was close.
Yeah.
This was a 1-point game in the fourth quarter.
It was.
And we'll get into our bonfire burning point. We'll get into all sorts of things. But I when I look at this game and break it down forensically, game planning, execution by Zach Schnitzer and those receivers.
The entire offense. The entire offense. I'm not going to say just Zach Schnitzer. We're going to talk about Schnitzer, cutting his index finger, gripping the football, all of that.
For sure.
But
let me just execution, game planning, and mistakes. The Argos
turnovers
with a backup quarterback, journeyman quarterback in Nick Arbuckle. Their path to victory was a lot of things had to go right. They had to get turnovers. The Bombers had to commit mistakes, which they did. The Argos got turnovers. And the Argos special teams had to contribute, which they did. Lucky Whitehead fumble sets them up for the touchdown. Next play to Kevin Mattel for 17 yards. I mean, And Zach Collaros throws 4 picks. Now, some of that was off his finger. I'm sure his delivery was affected. One of those balls was tipped with the Wynton McManus interception, Darren. But it just wasn't good enough. And the last thing I'll say is defense, game planning, it wasn't working. I get the thinking. We're going to rush 3. We're going to drop guys back, 8 or 9 into coverage. And we're going to make Nick Arbuckle a journeyman, a guy who was almost retired a month ago, or a month into the season, I guess. We're going to make him beat us with his arm. Mm-hmm. Well, he was beating us with his arm. He finished with 70% completion rating, completion percentage for 252 yards. He was beating us with his arm. So I just don't understand why maybe they didn't adjust and start bringing the heat, blitzing. Willie Jefferson.
I don't think the defense played particularly badly.
I don't think they played particularly badly either.
To me, I don't even think it's worthwhile talking about they should have done this, they should have done that against Nick Arbuckle. Not the issue at hand. The issue at hand, let's cut right to it, okay? The issue at hand, and pardon the frickin' pun, good God, I didn't even realize it. The issue at hand is your quarterback has an injured hand. He cut his index finger on his throwing hand, and he leaves the game. Terry Wilson comes in, that they had an opportunity to score, and then they weren't able to. They had to settle for a field goal, I think.
Yeah.
But they definitely didn't score a touchdown. And there's Collaros, fascinating post-game from him where, he talked about, we'll get into it. But my whole point is, when we talk about the Blue Bombers being outcoached, they were outcoached because they had the CFL's most outstanding player who in last year's Grey Cup didn't seem to get enough touches when he was running for 10 yards a carry. Tonight he was a 10-yard a carry guy, right? I'll pull up the numbers here.
Yeah.
They didn't go to Brady when they needed to. And instead, they go to their quarterback and ask him to throw the ball downfield. And Mike 𝙎𝙤 said, so there's your numbers there. Collaros, 50% today.
Yeah.
4 interceptions, no touchdowns. Like, obviously, people are going to, say, well, yeah, okay, that's that, right?
But, Darren, can I just interject, just quickly?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think it's as simple as they should have ran Brady more because, Toronto is a good front and they can stop the run with 4 guys and they loaded the box at times, I think. But when Terry Wilson came in for an injured Zach Collaros, 3 straight throws in the red zone. That is when you need to run Brady Oliveira to take a pressure off your second string guy who has no experience, especially in a big game.
I don't disagree with that. But to me, when Collaros comes back in the game, he's talking about he's having trouble gripping the football. They put on a glove. He's never worn a glove in his life. This is all foreign. And then he's throwing the ball deep downfield. And in answering questions, head coach Mike 𝙎𝙤, I'm really excited to post this post-game video because, pretty telling. But Mike 𝙎𝙤 said, well, sometimes it's what the defense does. And, he's effectively saying that, the Argos forced us to throw the football. Well, if the Argos are forcing you to throw the football and you're admitting that, Collaros is having trouble throwing the football, aren't you playing right into their hands? I think you need to do what you can do. And if Collaros, they just didn't run Brady. He had 11 carries for 84 yards.
And a 5 point, what was his final average per
7.6.
7.6 yards per carry against the second best run defense in the CFL and the Argos is exceptional. Now the outlier, which maybe makes the average a little higher is a 35-yard run that Brady had. But he had a 35-yard run. And listen, Darren, I've heard some differing opinions on the performance of our O-line. A lot of people are slamming Liam Dobson for pass protection, but I thought our O-line actually was maybe the bright spot of the offense if there was one tonight. I actually thought Zach had a lot of time.
I thought the whole offense stunk. I thought,
did you not see
Collaros
Collaros had time though.
He had time and he was okay until he got hurt, and then it was obvious
then he
that
threw 3
his
picks.
yeah. Then it was obvious that his hand was.
Why
a
did he
factor.
come back in then?
Look. I will disagree with you here.
I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying he shouldn't have.
I am steadfast in the belief that you don't go to your number 2 just because your number 1 is nicked. And I understand.
Nicked?
Yes,
You
nicked.
would say that's nicked if he can't grip the freaking football and that's the rare glove?
Look, Zach Schnitzer isn't going to go into the game if he doesn't feel he can throw the football. He can throw the football. It's just, we didn't get the best Zach Schnitzer.
I disagree with that, but
Well, you're going to get the push and pull between the player wanting to play and the player having the responsibility of saying, I want to, I don't want to put my team in jeopardy, but also wanting to be there for his guys. And then you have the coach who obviously wants his number 1 quarterback versus what's best for the team. They didn't have Chris Streveler. They didn't have Matt Nichols. They didn't have, a Nick Arbuckle, like a veteran quarterback. Yeah. Terry Wilson has never played in the CFL until this year, and it's been short yardage. And how many passes did he throw prior to the playoffs?
Oh God, like
0.
None.
Yeah. So you want to put that guy in a game where you're tied against this great defense with this great. He's going to be frazzled. He's probably going to throw picks too. At least if you have Zach Schnitzer in, he's enough of a threat that they have to respect him. He's smart. He can audible at the line. He's the quarterback of the offense. He is running things. You need that guy out there if he is capable of playing.
And that
I would open the debate if it was maybe a different number 2, but Terry Wilson, come on, man.
Well, and I'm not saying Wilson should have stayed in, Darren. I'm just asking
Run the football.
Well, yes.
Run the football. How about Brady, best pass protecting running back in the league? Nobody talks about that too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep him in there and protect. Great. But Tuieli, Gabe Wallace,
yeah.
Go big. Bring in Feltmate. Run the frickin' ball.
Run the ball, or if your quarterback, okay, fair enough. If you want to keep Zach Schnitzer in because he's the conductor of that offense,
Certainly.
But he can't, like, I don't understand. Maybe Buck Pierce is 10 times smarter than I am, or maybe he outsmarted himself. Your quarterback has never thrown with a glove. He has a massive cut on his finger.
Yeah.
He can't grip the ball very well.
I don't like those play calls.
We can debate whether you should listen to your starting quarterback, whether he wants to come back in, because I don't think that's a player decision. That's a coaching decision.
Yeah.
And if your coach thinks that you're a liability, then you shouldn't be playing. Now, if they thought Zach's orchestrating the offense, he's the guy, fine. But I think we can agree, Darren, play calling. Mm-hmm. If you can't grip the football properly, you can't throw a deep ball. That's the last thing you should be doing.
Yeah.
It was a close game at that point, right?
Yeah.
It was, what, was it a 1-point game when Schnitzer comes back in? I'll have to look at my notes. Mm-hmm. But he's throwing deep balls. He gets picked off by 𝘎𝙁, who returns it back 45 yards, and that's the game.
Yeah, that was
the game is over.
Yeah.
And then he throws 2 more picks.
Well, that was garbage time. That's desperation time. That's hurl it up.
But here's the thing.
Run the ball.
Or I thought the game plan for the Bombers this week would have been similar to what they did to the Riders. The Riders, they don't play as much man defense as the Argos do, from what I can gather. They play a lot of zone. But the Riders, like the Argos, have a fearsome defensive front, and they are incredibly good against the run. And what did the Bombers do last week, Darren? Mm-hmm. They had max protection for Zach Schnitzer, and yes, he was throwing deep balls, but he was protected, which I thought they would do tonight, and they would throw some short and intermediate stuff. Get 𝘎𝙁𝙤𝙧𝙚 going. 𝘎𝙬𝙧𝙚 was a non-factor. I know he got injured, but I thought they would get a little bit of traction with shorter and intermediate routes, and they just couldn't, and they were throwing it deep, and I don't understand. I will say this though, I think the Argos DBs played a lot of man, and they were on point. Their secondary was as good as the Bombers' secondary was last week, and McManus knocked the ball down 3 times. Benji Franklin had 2 knockdowns. Those are drive killers. When you, in a football game, the Bombers had 13 total drives. 5 knockdowns is like almost half your drive are killed.
Yeah.
And I thought the Argos secondary was incredible. I know McManus is a linebacker, but their secondary
he's still a
was
pass protector. A pass defender.
Their secondary was phenomenal. And I'm not even talking about the picks, Darren. Although it was sad to see Robert Priester, former Bomber DP, get a touchdown. But
that's tough, yeah.
And Ryan Dinwiddie, can I just make a global point here?
Yeah.
Ryan Dinwiddie has screwed the Bombers now in 3 Grey Cups as a starting quarterback in 2007, and then comes back to bite us in 2022, and then tonight with a backup quarterback. Like, honest to God.
What did you think of Winnipeg's propensity for the deep shot? They took a lot of deep shots early in the game.
I actually...
Zach Schnitzer finished the game 50%. I just looked. Do you know what his numbers were at halftime? He was 50%. And, like, he was very close to hitting Kenny. He was very close to hitting, I think it was Ďeňský. Or no, Wilson missed one, and then Wilson got one. Yeah. And that set up the touchdown, the Terry Wilson touchdown plunge. But what did you think of that aggressiveness early?
I didn't.
When you got the MOP.
No, I understand. I didn't mind it early. I minded it late when it was still a 1-point game.
Wow.
Early on, I thought the Bombers were going to bring in max protection. And the Argos, as good as their DBs are, that's feast or famine. They gave up the 8th, I believe, on average, 8th most pass yards per game. There were yards to be had. Collaros played well against the Argos, except for the turnovers. He had a lot of yards. Like, there were yards to be gained. I didn't mind it. And he hit, I guess he hit Wilson for a big one and Lawler for a decent one. But it didn't work. I'm going to tell you something about the offense here. Here's the main difference.
Tell me a little something.
Tell you a little something. Okay? Nick Arbuckle, his leading receiver, I believe, was Mackay Polk. He had 42 yards. But guess what? He had 7 Argo receivers that got over 20 yards. 7. He was spreading the ball around. Zach Collaros had 3 receivers over 20. And Wilson had 99 yards. But other than that, it was stagnant. They just couldn't get a rhythm going. And I don't care if you run Brady Oliveira, but maybe there's some screens to Brady Oliveira. Like, the play of the year in the CFL was Brady Oliveira's 33-yard touchdown, which was a dump-off in the Edmonton Elks game where we beat them 55-27. He spun off the tackle. Yeah. I mean, essentially, maybe that even put him over the top for the MOP. If you have the MOP and most outstanding Canadian, and he arguably should have been the MOP 2 years in a row. I think he was robbed last year. I think a lot of people agree with me.
Oh, yeah.
Get him the freaking ball. And when the Bombers lost...
Look at these targets.
There was 2 guys who I saw just sitting there in disbelief. One of them was Mike Benson, who was crouched. I have a picture of him, and I won't share it because I just think that's cruel.
Well, I think Mike Benson, I think that may have been his last football game. I think he's going to retire. I think that. I am not saying he is or will.
He was.
I've got the utmost respect for Mike Benson. Absolute class act. He looked crushed.
Yeah, he was the most crushed out of all the Bombers. I couldn't believe it.
Inside the Bombers locker room, he was close to us when we were interviewing Nick Ďeňský, and you could just feel it off of him. Yeah, it was tough.
A
Winnipeg native for people that aren't
right.
aware.
Exactly.
Former Winnipeg
or long snapper. Yeah. He was completely devastated, the most devastated visibly of any of the Bombers actually, and the second most was Brady Oliveira. And what I saw when I went, because I wasn't sitting there, but I went. For the Grey Cup presentation to stand behind the Bombers bench and applaud them. They weren't paying attention, which is totally fair. But Brady Oliveira was sitting on the bench for minutes and minutes. He was stunned. He didn't have his face in his hands or anything. He was stunned.
Schnitzy, we waited for like the trophy presentation and all the confetti to go and whatever, and then we waited to get into the Blue Bombers locker room. Okay, we go into the locker room, we talk to Ďeňský, and Willie Jefferson and Pat Neufeld, handful of players. And then it's like, okay, Mike O'Shea's going to speak. We went and spoke to Mike O'Shea at the podium. Zach Schnitzer came in and spoke at the podium. I'm going to have that content up on the YouTube channel shortly, but obviously we're live here. And then we went back, a handful of us, like me, DT, Freezer, and Hammer, went back into the Bombers locker room and we got Brady Oliveira. So this was a long time after the game had ended. And Jeff Hamilton very sharply asked the last question of the scrum. He said, "You're still in your gear. What were you doing?" And he said, I don't want this season to be over. I don't want it to end. He said, for the guys in that room that had never experienced a championship, he wanted to win it for them. Brady has 2 championships, albeit 2 championships as a reserve player, a backup, right? But he's lost 3 straight as this team's starting running back. So it's tough for him, and he's like Brady's the MOP and the MOC, right? Like we're talking Russ Jackson, Tony Gabriel, and like these
John Cornish,
these legends.
Yeah.
Look, Stanley and Pat Neufeld and Adam Bighill and Kolaris, Brandon Alexander. There's a lot of leadership on this team, but Brady Oliveira, I think this year realized that he's now a leader. He needs to be a leader on this team. Yeah. And, of course we asked him the question about, did you want the ball more? He answered it very diplomatically. Maybe a reason why we didn't get a chance to speak to him right away after the game, because, he wanted to make sure he answered that question right.
What did he say? Just said like, oh,
He just essentially said he didn't answer it directly, and nor would I really expect him to, because again, he knows he is a leader of this team now. And look, I'm not going to speak for Brady Oliveira, but I'll speak from experience of being around football people and being involved in, a little bit of elite level football with junior programs, university programs, and then just covering the Bombers for the better part of 15 years. And those guys want the football. Kolaris wants to play. Brady wants to catch passes and run. He wants to go up against 7 guys in the box. Like, he wants it. They want the game in their hands. It doesn't always work that way. Coaching, game planning, play calling, audibling, all these things can change things. To me, the big takeaway from this game is the offense failed when they were going up against a team whose offense was led by a guy that nearly retired. What did he say? 30 minutes from retiring, or 30 days from retiring, whatever he said.
Yeah, 30 days.
So I thought the defense played well enough. I know Lucky Whitehead had a bad fumble and that was costly, but you mix that in with, like, Kolaris had 4 interceptions, but those last 2 were in garbage time. I'm effectively giving him 2 or 3, but here, I wrote this down. The offense, their first 8 possessions of the game, 5 2-and-outs, a touchdown, a field goal, and a punt return fumble. That was their first 8 possessions. I think their 9 possessions was another field goal. So 2 field goals, a touchdown, 5 2-and-outs, and a punt return fumble.
Yeah, no, they didn't have it.
And then the interceptions. The 2 interceptions when the game was still in hand. That told the tale. To me, I love Buck Pierce. I really do. Like, as a man, as a football player, as a football coach, I love Buck Pierce. I've known his wife since I was a kid. Beautiful family. He's a great person. But I'll never put a loss on one person. I don't care if it's the quarterback throwing a pick or an OC making play calls or a quarterback audibling or executing them or a running back, not doing enough or a receiver dropping passes or not getting open or a head coach making the wrong decision. I'm never going to hang it on one guy. And I kind of learned that from Mike O'Shea. I've learned that from, a lot of football coaches and just tons of football coaches, position coaches, assistant coaches, head coaches.
But Buck.
Not Buck. I'm speaking for myself. I will never put it on one person. Okay? I think the cut hand, I think the propensity to go for the deep shot early was aggressive. I'm not saying it's the reason, but it was aggressive. Not putting the ball in your best player's hands, Brady Oliveira, when you could have. And just sticking with it, like sticking with the run. It can be hard, but you remember Andrew Harris and those championships in 19 and 21. It was, nobody runs the football in the CFL anymore. Nobody runs the football. And Paul Appolise would, I run the football. Yeah. Or they do the short pass game. It's effectively running the football. We talked about that going into the West Final, going into the final game of the regular season. That is the short pass game is the run game. They, Pat Neufeld hung it on the O-line, and that's all of them. That's all 7 of those guys that dressed today. The offense was, I'll put it on a phase. I won't put it on a person. I'll put it on a phase. The offense was in my mind, the major contributing reason why Winnipeg lost today.
I would agree with you there, buddy. Whoever it falls on, I think it's a lot of them. The other team gets paid too, right? I think the Argos defense played exceptionally well. I think that goes without saying. But yeah, were the Bombers too aggressive? I mean, here's a question. Should Terry Wilson, if you don't think Terry Wilson should have stayed in the game, what about a guy who has more experience, like 𝘎𝙥𝙬𝙧𝙚?
Yeah, that was our super chat. I brought that up a couple times. I'll bring it up one more. Back-to-back Blue says, thanks for the $2.79.
Thank you.
Do you think 𝘎𝙥𝙬𝙧𝙚 should have came in?
It's an interesting question, right? Like he's kind of
been here a month.
He's been here a month, but he has experience starting for the Riders. Like he has some experience.
And he started some games for the Lions too, didn't he?
I don't know if he started for the Lions. He was backing up for the Lions.
Yeah.
I don't know if he started, but he may have got some playing time. But let me just I think you're right. I think the game story is the offense sputtered. The offense was stuck in the mud. Okay?
Yeah.
If they're a cart, they were stuck in the mud. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. Coming into this game, I was wondering, are we going to get the offense that just eviscerated the Riders in the West Final, where you thought Zach Collaros has exercised the demons of bad Zach Collaros playoff performances? Is this the Zach Collaros we're going to get? Is it going to be the Zach Collaros who threw for 6 touchdown passes against the Elks? Like, which Zach Collaros are we going to get? Which offense are we going to get? Because early in the season, this offense couldn't get it together. Zach threw many more picks than TDs. Then they seemed to get traction, right? Mm-hmm. Winning 10 of 11 games. Mm-hmm. We got, now, and I get part of it's the Argos, they get paid too. We got the Bombers offense that just couldn't get it done. That was stuck in the mud, that sputtered. But let me tell you something. Even before Zach hurt his finger, Darrin, let me just pull it up here.
Yep.
With 6:49 left in the fourth quarter, and someone please check my numbers because I could be slightly off
6:50 in the fourth quarter?
6:50 left in the fourth quarter, right before he threw that pretty much game-sealing interception to 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙚.
Right.
Do you know how many completions he had? Guess. I'm putting you on the spot, but just guess.
Well, he finished with 12?
15.
Well, 15? He was 15 or 30?
Something like that,
Okay.
yeah.
So what did he have?
6 completions.
Wait a second. He had 6 completions at halftime. He was 6 of 12, wasn't he?
Yeah, but then they went 2 and out a couple times, and then he got injured. And then Terry Wilson came in. He had 6 completions. The game was almost over. Mm-hmm. The Argos had almost as many interceptions as he had completions.
Because they were going deep
I know
so much.
I'm just saying, like
He wasn't missing like intermediate stuff. He wasn't missing checkdowns. They were taking shots.
I know.
It was so aggressive. I understand the Argos play a man defense.
Yeah.
To me, the chunk plays that did connect were when they were in zone. You know, like Ontario Wilson's second big catch of the game. He had the big, what was it, the big 49-yarder.
Yeah.
But he had another one going back the other way. That drive stalled out, but he was wide open. I was blown away, and nobody was like down on the field. Like it was just like a little pocket zone, a little pocket in the Argos zone. That's when they should have been taking shots. Like defenses will disguise what they're doing, right? They'll show man, drop into a zone. They'll show zone, drop into a man. So it's tough, but to me, they were way too aggressive taking those shots.
Yeah.
Way too aggressive. Like so early in the game, they're going deep downfield to Kenny. I'm like, I understand you want to tame a ridiculously good pass rush of the Argos. And doing that that'll dial things back. They'll be like, okay, maybe we got to drop a little bit more into coverage, have another high safety or that sort of thing. Nick Taylor was playing safety by the end of the game, by the way. Brandon Alexandre played a little halfback, a little bit of dime because, Crandy and Griffith, they were moving guys around a lot. But anyway, so aggressive. I didn't really understand it. But some football coaches can outthink themselves, and it's not just Buck. Like Mike O'Shea's involved in the game plan. They know what they're doing. Mike O'Shea doesn't go like, oh, wow, he's really calling a lot of deep shots here. Collaros is deciding to throw a lot of deep shots because they have their progression and that sort of thing. But those are dialed up deep shots. Those are like, okay, we're going to try to, if we see this look, we're going to try to hit the seam. And they had it. They were there, but it's a deep shot. It's I'm not going to say it's a 50-50 flip, but there's margin for error there, right? You're going to miss some of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. They were probably doing it because they know the Argos give up a lot of pass yards, and they probably wanted to take the pressure off the O-line. Maybe they didn't have a ton of confidence in the O-line given what happened the last two games. But yeah, where were the easier throws? Where were the short intermediate throws that I think were probably available?
I don't even think that audio is getting picked up, so it's okay. Just playing the 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚 interception.
Yeah, that was a killer.
Sorry about that. I'm just trying to maybe show this because we haven't shown any highlights yet. So keep going, keep talking.
Well, I don't know what to do. I don't even.
I'm just gonna do some technical things. What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
Tell me what you think was going on when the game's 24-16 with.
Well, Zach Schnitzer comes back in. How much time is left there?
We'll find out in a second.
6:49. Yeah, that's when he had thrown 6 completions. And I think he
That was a great pick, by the way.
It was, but he underthrew him. And I think it's because of his finger. He underthrew Ontario Wilson. And by the way, Wilson had 99 yards.
Yep.
I get why he was going after Wilson. He was having a game. But he underthrew him.
He had time. He's got a nice little pocket here.
Yeah.
And look, the Argos are playing zone. Otherwise, you wouldn't see 2 Argos players there, right there on your screen, at the bottom of your screen, with nobody around them. This is a zone, and it's almost like a clear out receiving route, right? There's nobody around. Yeah, this was underthrown.
Yeah, it was underthrown, and then you're like, why are they throwing deep shots with a compromised fit? Like, I get it at the beginning. They're trying to soften up the defense a little bit, but when you're quarterback, you're only down by 1 score, and there's almost 7 minutes left. That's a long time in the Canadian Football League. You're only down by 1 score. Like, I just don't understand throwing it deep like that. At that point in the game, there's still time. Run Brady, throw some short stuff, and then what is it? You're showing that is it the very next play off the interception that they get the touchdown?
No, this is 7. This is just prior. Yeah. Winnipeg getting pretty good pressure rushing for, but that was Nick Taylor beat in it was kind of a quarters zone. So a quarters zone is when you got four deep defensive backs kind of playing, each playing a quarter of the field. And yeah, um, Nick Arbuckle did more than I think a lot of people expected him to. Just being around Grey Cup week this week, there was a lot of talk about, well, okay, the Bombers play this, nine guys dropping and rushing three often, but Nick Arbuckle can't throw downfield. So what are we going to see? Are we going to see them? The Argos do a little dink and dunk, a little bit of Kadeem carry. I think it was that early, but then it was almost like, okay, like the mind of Ryan Dinwiddie being like, okay, now we're starting to see what Winnipeg's doing defensively, and they were moving the ball a little bit early, right? But they kind of had that lull in the second quarter, and it was almost like, okay, we've kind of played them into our hands here. Now let's start taking advantage of what they're doing. You know, Jordan Younger is a first year defensive coordinator. Ryan Dinwiddie has been calling offenses since it was like Bo Levi in his prime with the Calgary Stampeders, right? Mm-hmm. He was quarterbacks coach, and before he was OC, or was he even OC? I mean, I think he was the play caller, and Dickinson was the OC. But you got to give credit to the Argos. Like, they put together a nice little game plan for Nick Arbuckle.
They did, and they used. I thought they used Kadeem Carey ended up with about 89 yards, I think, Darrin. Mm-hmm. I thought they weren't getting a ton of production from him. He had a couple nice runs of over 10 yards, but I thought there's a nice one. I thought they used Kadeem Carey enough so that there was the threat of the run, so that then they could go into what the Argos did in the second half. I saw a lot of play action, RPOs, where the Bombers' defense, I'm not going to say they were fooled, but they weren't, when you establish the run, it just opens up everything, because the defense doesn't necessarily know what you're going to do. Are you going to run? Or are you going to pull it? Are you going to pass? Are you just going to pass? Whatever it is, the Bombers' defense was a little bit, I thought, off balance by that. And I think you're right. I think Dinwiddie called an unbelievable game. This Bombers defense was the best in the CFL. And I'm not just saying they were best at yards against. They were best in almost every metric. Maybe except turnovers. They didn't have a ton of turnovers, but they gave up the fewest yards, the fewest average yards, the fewest pass yards, the fewest first downs, the fewest passing touchdowns. Like, yeah, they were exceptional most of the season.
Yeah.
And Dinwiddie called a brilliant game, I thought.
I went up to Willie Jefferson after we interviewed him, and I think I went and talked to Neufeld after that. But I went back to Willie Jefferson, who I've worked closely with. He's a go-to guy for me for a quote, right, and thoughts on the game and practice week or whatever it is. And I said to him, that was the best game I think you've played in 3 years, and he was really good today.
Oh, he almost took over the game.
If the Bombers won, he would have had my MOP vote.
Yeah.
He had, I don't know what he finished with.
I can tell you right now.
Well, I know he had at least 6 tackles, 1 for a loss. He had a sack. He had a strip sack. That's a sack, but you strip the football. Like, the Bombers didn't get it, but he stripped the football from the quarterback. He had I mentioned the tackle for loss, and he had the interception there that we just saw.
He actually had 3 tackles. I wrote this down because I was like, he just jumped off the page to me, Darrin. Mm-hmm. You're right. He had 6 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a pick. Like,
it's pretty good.
And he may have even had a couple knockdowns in there. I'm going to look that up right now.
Here, I got it here.
Did he have any knockdowns? Because we know the patented Willie Jefferson knockdown. No, he didn't have any knockdowns. But he had the forced fumble, which the Argos recovered, unfortunately, for the Bombers.
That was the strip sack, yeah.
Yeah, but he was a game record today. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Against probably, you could argue, I don't know what you think.
You have 3 tackles for loss? Oh, because they counted 2 sacks.
Yeah.
That's tackle for loss. They're technically not tackles for loss. They should be.
Yeah,
But,
they should. So
Oh,
I thought he was a game
you know
record.
what? Can we talk about one of the most controversial plays in this game?
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Okay. And maybe it's your bonfire burning point.
Could be.
So, Michael Ayers, rookie special teams phenom, Michael Ayers, forces blocks a punt. And Haggerty, Toronto's punter, he can pound the football. Yeah. I was blown away with how good he had a 65-yard punt that Lucky took for the single.
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue with that single, by the way. I know it tied the game.
Nah, it's fine.
That was a field position game, and guess what? Winnipeg got the ball at midfield their next possession.
Yeah.
Instead of, at their 10.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Yeah, your defense is your strength. Play to it, right?
Especially if Lucky is not good at returning the ball, which he isn't.
I'm going to try to find this highlight because I think it's important. But Michael Ayers blocks a punt.
Yeah.
And then the loose football is there, and it's
Kyrie Wilson.
It's Kyrie Wilson who gets charged with loose ball interference. Okay, so I'm going to find this highlight, but essentially what he did was push the Argos player that was going to recover the block punt, this loose football, and you can't do that.
Nope.
So Winnipeg recovered, but no matter how the play had ended, whether Winnipeg got it or Toronto got it or whatever, if there is loose ball interference, this is the most punitive, the most, to put it in layman's terms, there is no penalty in football that is, penalized more. Like there's nothing worse than
it's a
loose ball
shot.
Interference because you're not getting the football, no matter what happens, right? So you block a punt, you recover the football, and because you shove somebody, you don't get the ball.
And there's essentially no point in even contesting the ball because even if the Argos recover the blocked punt, as long as they don't go 10 yards, which is why the loose ball interference is there in the first place, because conceivably an Argo player can pick up the loose ball and run and get a first down. That's why the penalty's there. We were arguing about this in the lobby, me and Neil Enerson, who I've become close to on this trip, which is a nice bonus. This is why we do these things, right?
100%.
Because we make friends. But the Bombers are an excuse to make friends. Great. But he was like, why is this even a penalty? And I was like, you're right. But then another guy was saying, you can conceivably pick up that ball and run.
Yeah.
So Kyrie Wilson, there's no reason, maybe it's just an instinct, because he's a veteran player, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's no reason to interfere, because even if the Argo picks it up, it's still Winnipeg football. And Darrin, if we want to get into our awards or our bonfire burning point, if you don't mind, because we're here anyway.
Yeah.
At that point, it's 17-13 for the Argos, and we block a punt. And I thought, I was jumping out of my seat. It was amazing. I thought this was the turning point in the game, the burning point, where I thought, okay, here's the momentum we needed. But what happens after that? Well, there's almost another burning point. You have the disappointment of not getting the ball. The Argos get a first down. Right then, Willie Jefferson gets an interception.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, here we go. Okay, we get a mulligan. But then Terry Wilson comes in the red zone off the interception. They throw the ball 3 times, 3 incompletions. Why is there 3 incompletions? How is that possible if you don't get a first down? Well, there was a pass interference, right? They don't run the ball there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kick the field goal, and it's a 1-point game. And from there, the Argos drive it 70 yards, 6-play 70-yard drive, touchdown drive capped off by the most outstanding Canadian, Dejan Brissett, with a 17-yard touchdown. The Argos go up 24-16, and from there score 17 unanswered points. And right after that touchdown, Zach's first throw, when he comes back into the game, and this is the end of my very long burning point. Mm-hmm. It's a long wick here.
It's not that long.
Zach throws essentially a pick six. He throws it 45 yards, is returned by 𝘎𝙁 on the interception, and that's ball game. Toronto, they did hold them to a field goal there, Darrin.
Yeah.
But
It's 2 scores.
Toronto goes from being up 1 point to being up 11 points. 2 scores, 27-16.
Yeah.
And that's the ball game.
Here's the field goal that put them up 2 scores. And 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨, you know what? I'm going to give a Wallabies Warrior.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙨.
Yeah, because he got injured. Well, ostensibly injured. Was he really injured?
I don't think you fake limping when you're a kicker. You want to give nerves to like everybody in your whole organization? No. Give me a break.
He seemed to be fine after that.
You
though.
think Liram was acting?
No, I don't think he's
Get
acting.
real.
I just... I
No,
was,
like, look, you get your knee bent like that and you got a limp, and then you go out and kick a 45-yard, like, he's in pain. Like, it's clear that, you know, it didn't affect his power or accuracy. That's a Warrior. Liram is a good dude, man. We have to remember, 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙨 grew up in a war-torn country.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
and like that. He, you know, this guy waited in line for a can of fish when he was a kid to like feed himself, feed his family. He was telling me this week, you know, we all know and appreciate 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙨, who, you know, the Blue Bombers gave him his start in pro football. Liram told me about the F-18s flying over, doing the flyover at like O Canada, you know, at a game. And it would bring him back to being 8 years old and seeing these jets fly overhead when he was a kid.
In Kosovo.
Yeah. And he's like, are those the good guys or the bad guys? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that's like?
Luckily, no.
Liram is a gentleman and kind heart. And, you know, I'm happy for him today. I'm happy for him. And he was a Warrior.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a good pick. Am I going to my Warrior?
Sorry, Bombers fans.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's why you're here.
Well, yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I mean, good for him. I'm not feeling that yet, but good for him. You know, just to circle back to the burning point, you could also argue the burning point was 6:43 left in the third quarter. Lucky Whitehead fumbles the punt, and the Argos' next play is a 17-yard touchdown to Kevin Mittal. And that's a lead they would never relinquish, Darren.
How many burning points you got?
Well, I'm just saying that could be a burning point. Could be 2.
Okay, so you had 1, and then that one will be mine.
Okay.
Cool.
Could be a burning point.
Deal.
But you like Lucky fumbled the ball in the Western Final in a punt return. Mm-hmm. And it didn't matter because the Bombers were up so much.
Yeah.
But couldn't afford to do it again. And I thought, let me just talk about Lucky Whitehead. Fan favorite, great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Gregarious. Ostentatious. Okay. Whatever you pick your epithet. Colorful. And I know he wanted to do some kind of fun entrance into BC Place in Mike O'Shea kibosh, which I get. But this
that was actually the case, not just Grey Cup week, but like when the Bombers played the Lions. Yeah.
I honestly am kind of questioning. Like, I know Lucky Whitehead had 3 big punt returns this year. One in Labor Day that helped them a lot. When was the other? In the Montreal game, he almost had a touchdown, Darren. But they need more from returner next year. We can get into next year or later.
Yeah. But
I'm just saying they need more. My Wallabies Warrior is Willie Jefferson.
Nice.
He literally almost took over this game. And the stats are exceptional. 6 tackles, 1 for a loss, or 3 if you want to count the 2 sacks. Forced fumble and a pick. Mm-hmm. Against a very good Argos O-line. At this stage in Willie Jefferson's career, you know, because I was kind of like, you know, how good has Willie been this year? He's been okay. He hasn't been the most outstanding defensive player, which is what we're used to from Willie Jefferson. He had a good year.
He hasn't been the MODP.
No. I'm just saying, hear me out. He had a good year. But he raised his game in this game.
He was first team All-Star, All-Canadian. He was CFLPA All-Star.
First team I don't. I
Well,
hate,
it's because there is no second team, right?
Why do they change the name of the All-Star? Like, it's so stupid.
not important.
It is important to me because it's confusing.
Well, there is no second team.
Yeah, I know, but all CFL, like, shut up.
It's CFL All-Star. You have Division
yeah.
All-Stars and CFL All-Stars.
Call it
So
that.
not only was he the West Division All-Star, he was also the CFL All-Star. He had 10 knockdowns this year. I am personally of the belief that a knockdown is almost as deflating as a sack.
Yeah, a knockdown is amazing.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm just saying, the point I'm making is Willie Jefferson had a great year, but he was more dominant earlier in his tenure with the Bombers, and we saw the OG Willie Jefferson tonight. We saw the guy that took over the 2019 Grey Cup, Willie Jefferson. Like, it was back to the future for Willie Jefferson.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Sure.
And he was unbelievable. And I just didn't expect that from him at this stage in his career. He's still great.
You weren't expecting that?
No, I wasn't expecting that from Willie Jefferson anymore. I thought he's a great player, maybe more rotational than he's ever been, but he almost took over this game.
Yeah.
And had the Bombers won, he probably would have been the most outstanding player of the MVP.
This is why I'm a little bit in disagreement with you, because I'm never shocked when Willie J takes over a game. I'm never shocked anymore. I think he is that good. You remember when I think I said it on Bonfire midweek last year. Last year said, I think Willie Jefferson's the best player in the CFL, quarterbacks included. I said that. I said that in 2023.
I'm surprised you didn't say it about 𝘎𝙥🊼 Nichols this year, your boy.
Look, I watched the whole league. Okay, I watched the whole league. What today? What, you don't think 𝘎𝙥🊼 played that well?
I'm not even talking about how he played today, dude.
I've never said 𝘎𝙤🊼 Nichols is the best player in the league. I've never even said he's the best DB in the league.
I'm just.
You know what? I may have said that, but I don't know if he is. Willie Jefferson, I think, is not only the best defensive end in the league. I think he is from game to game capable of being the best player on the field.
Yeah.
I think he was the best player in the field in 2022, and in 2023, I was giving him those flowers. You know, I was giving him that shine. You know, is he on the back nine of his career? Yeah, he's on the 10th hole. Maybe he's on 11.
I don't know.
Maybe he's on 12.
I don't know.
But he's still got like if he's on 12, he's still got 6 holes to play.
He's got lots to play. I just didn't think he'd be eagling still.
Yeah.
To build on your metaphor.
Just
it surprised me.
Just crushing it off the tee.
Yeah, it surprised me that he almost took over this game.
Just chipping it in from the fescue.
The fescue? What's
yeah,
that?
that's like the tall grass.
Okay.
It's like the medium grass, I guess.
I've never heard that word in my entire life.
The fescue?
Yeah, and my mom's an English professor. It's not often that I haven't. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to spell the words, or don't know what they mean. But it's not like I rarely hear a word I've never heard. Fescue.
Schnitzy, your mom may be an English professor, but I majored in English from a university whose mascot is the Bisons. Which isn't a word. So if you want to talk about English educations.
English educations. SMRT, buddy. You're so smart.
SMRT.
You're so smart.
Yep.
Yeah. Fescue. How do you even spell that?
I have no idea.
When you said fescue, I was like, sounds like a good Winnipeg Ukrainian last name, like FESKIW or something.
It's almost like an Icelandic name or
I don't know. Good strong Winnipeg, like Eastern European name.
Like a Fescuski.
Fescue, but shortened to fescue because the border agent couldn't, or the immigration agent couldn't pronounce.
That's right. Yeah, like your name's Novak, but it was Novatsky.
Yeah, we're getting so into the weeds here. Oh my god.
Into the fescue.
Into the fescue. High five. High five.
Right on.
Fescue.
Okay,
bless you.
So we got bless you, fescue. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so love that everyone's in the live chat. We've got, what time is it in Winnipeg? It's after midnight. We got like 600.
On a school night, too.
We got 600 people watching.
Yeah.
Awesome to see everybody out there. Thanks for supporting us. I don't know if I have the graphic, but I wanted to shout out the Silver Heights restaurant. Look, if you want good food, great atmosphere, just awesome people, it's Winnipeg's original sports bar. Did you know in 1957 the Silver Heights restaurant like embodied being a sports bar? 1957. The sports bars barely existed back then. They are Winnipeg's original sports bar. They have the best barbecue ribs in town. Maybe some of you out there saw my interview with Andrew Harris. We were on the patio at the Silver Heights restaurant. We had some ribs. We talked about men's mental health and football and championships and his evolution, as a football player and his Hall of Fame career and his movie. The Heights had a huge Grey Cup party tonight. We were talking about it on the pregame show, but they do like bomber buses to the games. They do jet stuff, home and away games, tons of prizes. Their golf tournament is sold out every year. They're just west of Assiniboine Park, Sergeant Sunday, Assiniboine Park on Portage Avenue, just west of there, Sharp Boulevard and Portage. Go check them out. They're awesome. Sunny St. James. Big shout out to them. And of course, Douglas Savage and the book. I gave you a copy. I gave the Hammer a copy. I gave Ed Tate a copy.
Walby's going to get a copy.
Walby's going to get a copy. My uncle, who's, probably in bed
Uncle
by now.
Glenn?
Uncle Glenn.
Nice. Yeah. Shout out to Uncle Glenn.
Yeah. Uncle Glenn grew up with Stan Mickawas.
I didn't know that.
Mickawas is now Chris Walby's best friend. Every time I go to Walby's house, which is 3-4 times a year, because he lives way out in the sticks, at least compared to me. But he's in the northeast corner. I'm in the southwest, west corner. But Stan's there. Stan's there every time. Stan Mickawas and my uncle were both tight ends at Miles Mack. I hope I got that right. Miles Mack, not Daniel Mack.
Walby will tell you if you got it wrong.
Well, Walby was a St. John's Tiger.
Ooh, a tiger.
Yeah.
Okay, roar.
Yeah. Uncle Glenn, he wanted a copy of the book. Well, what book? What are we talking about? This is My New Hero, Memories of the Rink Rats. Let's get the shine off of that. How about that? There we go. So, look, this was written by Douglas Savage. He's a Winnipegger. He now lives in Vancouver. I got an interview with him, a little 5-minute interview with him up on the YouTube channel and Facebook. But he was 8 years old. He snuck into a closed Edmonton Oilers morning skate or practice. It was the playoffs, 1983. He was 8 years old. And Gretzky decided to not get on the bus back to the hotel. And he took a 45-minute walk from Winnipeg Arena. I don't know why it took 45 minutes, but they were at the Winnipeg Arena. They walked to the Viscount Court. They probably had to go the underpass or something to get to the other side of Portage, right? But they had this long walk on a beautiful spring day. And Douglas Savage, the author of this book, and Wayne Gretzky connected. And he got Wayne Gretzky's stick. A year went by. The stick was stolen. Interesting who stole it. No spoilers. Check out the book. It's available on Amazon. Link in the video description below. Christmas right around the corner. You want this book.
And Hanukkah.
But that, and Hanukkah too, yeah, and birthdays and all types of stuff. Great for someone in your life. Canadiana, Winnipeg story. But that stolen stick, a year later, he tells Gretzky, you gave me your stick. And it was stolen. He's going, oh, that was you. They have the same birthday. He remembers this 45-minute walk with Douglas Savage, Wayne Gretzky. All of these years have gone by, and Doug wrote this book to find that stick. That chapter is being written right now because they found that stick. There has only been 3 elimination game playoff sticks owned by Wayne Gretzky. There's a bunch of the sticks on the back of the cover. This is the old cover. There's a new cover out there as well. I'll find it here. But anyway, link in the video description below. There's tons of Bomber stuff in here too. A chapter on Dieter Brock, on those Super Sports Saturdays, Jets and Blue Bombers double headers, Tuxedo Night, all types of cool stuff. You'll want to check it out. Great book. And big thanks to Doug Savage for sponsoring Bonfire.
Absolutely.
Silver Heights Restaurant as well. Yeah.
Silver Heights. I think I've been there for a burger week a while back, but I gotta try
yeah.
Gotta try these ribs. Try these ribs.
Their food is good. I used to Jeff Hamilton used to bartend there.
Really?
Maybe it was his twin brother. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we don't know.
But
What's his twin brother's name?
Well, I don't know if I should say. It's Jeff and oh yeah, no, it's Jeff and Jeff, Geoff and Jeff. Yeah, Jeff and Jeff.
That's amazing. That's what I thought you'd say.
Thanks, Mrs. Hamilton.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Joff.
Thanks, Mom.
Jeff and Joff.
Yeah. Jeff's mom bowls with my mom.
There you go.
They've never known each other in their lives. Last year they started bowling together.
See, here I keep hoping that deep down you're Jewish, but if your mom's bowling, that's so goy.
Why do you hope I'm Jewish?
Because there's not many of us.
What?
There's not many of us
In Winnipeg?
In the world.
There's a fantastic Jewish community in Winnipeg.
15,000 of us in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Population of like 700,000.
Yeah, there's
But
like
I'm just
there's
saying,
like 100,000 Filipinos.
If your mom's
So
a
you're
bowler,
outnumbered by the Filipinos.
I don't know. Jews, we don't bowl. I don't. That's not true. My aunt and uncle bowled.
Why does it have to be a thing like this race or this religion does this thing or doesn't do this thing?
Because we like to say that. Like we always say that's so goy. Like Jews don't.
But you're
non-Jews
saying they're
do that.
not bowlers. Why are you limiting the Jewish people?
I'm saying historic now. If you're Jewish and you want to be a bowler, that is awesome. You can break the pattern. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. You can transcend these cultural limitations that I'm putting on the Jewish people.
Did Jews golf?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, we weren't allowed to golf at the major golf courses in Winnipeg in the 1950s, but so they developed. I think they started their own St. Charles. Is that St. Charles?
No.
Or they were allowed at St. Charles.
No, they weren't allowed at St. Charles, and so they started Glendale.
Glendale, right. Yeah, that's what I
And what's interesting is that Glendale is on St. Charles Boulevard.
That's why I was confused. Yeah.
St. Charles Golf Course is on Country Club Boulevard.
See?
Why isn't St. Charles on St. Charles?
I don't know.
Why is it called Country Club?
This is riveting for our listeners.
It's almost like they called it St. Charles Boulevard, leading to the golf course where they started a course because the people on Country Club wouldn't let them in.
Yeah, probably. We weren't let into a lot of places.
It's all Winnipeg, Canadian.
And shout out, speaking of a Jewish guy, I made a new friend, Gary Schurz. I'm not sure if that's how I pronounce your name. He's a former Winnipegger, lives in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. I was sitting in section 429 today at the beginning of the game, and he messaged me, go to section 216, which was on the 35-yard line, like a few rows up in the lower bowl. And I'm like, sure, Gary. So I sat in front of Gary and his family, and it was
sick.
I mean, we lost the game, but they were amazing seats. And guess how much I paid for the seats? Thanks to Greg Turley, I paid $40 for the seats. So yeah, $40.
So you paid $40
to sit in the lower bowl,
and yeah, like inside the 30s.
Yeah, baby.
This is a great book.
We're always looking for a deal, us Jews. Always looking for a deal, and I got one. I got a good deal. The only thing I didn't get was a Grey Cup win, Darren.
It's okay. You know what? The sun will come up tomorrow.
Will it, though? It might not.
I know for a fact.
Well, just because
I saw the forecast.
Just because it's happened a billion times doesn't mean it will necessarily happen tomorrow.
This is a beautiful book.
All right, we got to get to our happy honker.
Okay. Hey, you've never been in person for this.
No. Well, Labor Day I have.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is a second time.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Tuxedo Night in the Whiteout.
Was that? I didn't even hear the happy honker. Play it again.
I got the volume really low here.
Okay.
So you don't get distracted by these Argos highlights I keep showing.
Boo.
I know. I can hear you like swallow your throw up a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. Happy honker. Well, a honorable mention goes to the streaker. You probably didn't see her on TV, but there was a streaker.
I didn't see the streaker at all.
You didn't? No, in the fourth quarter, she was wearing UGG boots and nothing else.
Like nothing else.
Nothing else.
She was buck naked.
Yes. Wearing UGG boots and nothing else. And
speaking of Winnipeg, Biff Naked played the festival.
Okay.
Winnipegger.
Interesting.
People don't know that. Biff Naked. Winnipegger.
You're stealing my thunder here.
She was
Biff
Biff
Naked.
Naked.
This was
big. She was. Oh, I just want to talk more
Biff.
about it.
She was Biff Naked, and she actually fell.
No.
Which was pretty funny.
Like she didn't get tackled?
No. She just fell.
Oh, man.
But that was my honorable happy honker. I'm sure it wasn't on TV because they never show streakers on TV.
Never. They don't encourage them.
My main happy honker actually happened way at the beginning of the game, Darren, at the coin toss. And Ben Major, who I love, you guys might remember referee Ben Major. because there's been a couple games in BC Place this year where Flintoff, their punter, I think it was Flintoff, hit the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
And
then it happened again.
It happened again. And I think the first time, what did he say? He's like,
the play has been ruled dead.
The play is ruled dead. This is odd. He said, like, this is weird. This doesn't
Yeah.
usually happen. The punt hit the Jumbotrons. We're going to have to re-punt. And then it happened again.
Yeah.
And he goes, we have to blow the play dead. I can't believe I'm saying this again. But the ball hit the Jumbotron. So today, for the coin toss, he has the Bombers and the Bombers captains and the Argos captains. Whatever.
Ceremonial coin tosser.
Yeah. He has a ceremonial coin tosser. And the guys the players come up to the coin tosser. He gives the coin tosser the coin. And the coin tosser proceeds to flip the coin. Mm-hmm. Well, he missed a step.
Nobody called heads or tails.
Nobody called heads or tails. and then he realized his mistake and just like, to his credit, he just kind of laughed it off. He was just laughing at himself. So I thought Ben Major, I love that guy.
That was one of my favorite moments this year, where it hit the Jumbotron the second time, and he goes, the ball has hit the scoreboard again.
Yeah.
Big smile on his face.
Yeah.
Ben Major, first Grey Cup game he has been the head official for.
There you go.
Which is pretty cool.
Should we talk about the officials? Because there's lots of angry Bomber fans.
I just got to say, because of those moments this season, they raised the Jumbotron. And
No way.
I don't know if you, like, I'd been there before, but it's really high now. Like, the Jumbotron is like it's like, you could understand why it was lower before. Yeah.
There's a lot of Bomber fans I was talking to after the game and just on social media, Darren. Mm-hmm. They were mad at some of the calls. Wait
a minute. Fans were mad at officials' calls. Weird. Hit up the live chat if you've ever heard of that before. That's so strange.
Now a lot of people say there's holding on every play. I saw some holding that was missed against the Bombers. I'm not saying that's why we lost. We got our asses handed to us.
I have to interrupt because we have super chats, and if I want to make sure we do the super chats while the people are still in the live stream. Still over 600 people watching live. That's awesome. Hit up the live chat. Let us know where you're watching from right now. That would be great. And I mean, if it's Winnipeg, like, say I'm in my childhood bedroom, or say you're on your phone at the bus stop. That would be cool too. Back-to-back blue with another super chat. $6.99 after $2.79. Says Zach just hasn't produced in the last 3 cups. No touchdowns, 6 picks. Just isn't going to do it. Thanks for a great season though, Bonfire. Thanks to you, back-to-back blue.
Thank you. Yeah, those are pretty awful numbers.
He was really good in the West Final.
Yep.
He was really good the last month of the regular season. I thought the offense really rounded into form. The O-line looked night and day compared to early this season, right? I'm still not going to hang anything on one guy. 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚, all caps, what's up?
$500.
$500, yeah. 500 pennies. Big thanks for the $5, 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚.
Thank you, 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚.
DB, I know it's football, but what did you think of Picard targeting Collaros' throwing hand with the helmet on that play? Targeting a player, like, good comment, thank you. I don't know how you target a hand with your helmet.
Oh, is that what he's saying?
I didn't see it.
Yeah,
I would have to watch it again.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm missing something. So don't get mad at me, 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚. You're one guy I wouldn't want to mess with.
No, you don't, because he'd yell at you. He's just like, even in his whisper is probably yelling.
I love Paulie. I've met him a couple times, but like such a strong personality in like the best way, in absolutely the best way.
A good strong personality. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. Matt Hyman says he's watching in Waiter's house.
No way.
Yeah, is that 568?
864 Hazeldale?
I
Yeah.
don't know. We got to put that on the screen.
We're Waiters. Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Yeah, where does Waiters, he's probably going to put up this Grey Cup on YouTube, and I'm not going to watch it for a while. I don't think I can.
So DL14 says there is zero chance that Streaker was not a Winnipegger.
Really? Double negative there? Not double negative.
Zero chance they were not.
They were not.
Yeah.
So 100% chance they were a Winnipegger.
Or a 0% chance they're not. That's not a double negative.
No, it's not, but
0% chance they were not a Winnipegger.
So he's saying they were.
Or you could say a 0% chance he was a Winnipegger. Or she was a Winnipegger.
Well, you could say that, but that's not what he's saying. Yeah. He's saying 0% chance he was not. She was not. So he's saying she was a Winnipegger.
Yeah. Big Hitter says, first time here, is this real?
Yep. Ow.
It's real.
Welcome, Big Hitter. What's your happy honker? You keep stalling, Darrin.
Oh, happy honker. I mean...
The streaker? You didn't see the streaker.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a happy honker.
Okay. You don't have to. You're letting all the fans down, but you don't have to have one.
You know, like... I'll share something similar to what you shared off the top. My happy honker is to be able to be here with you. You know, be here with so many of my friends, you know, working in the media and fans. You know, seeing Henry here, seeing him on the TSN broadcast tonight.
Hank?
Yeah.
Smiling Hank? Nice.
Not Burris.
What's Henry?
The Bombers superfan, Henry. He's at like Bombers practice like every day.
Is he?
Yeah.
But I don't even know who this guy is.
I saw him here in the hotel. I was downstairs filming the horse come in. Biggest horse they've ever had at the Grey Cup.
Wow.
If you're unfamiliar with the tradition, they walk the horse into one of the hotels in the Grey Cup city. The Calgary Grey Cup Committee does, no matter where it is, and the horse checks in. Like, so they had the horse walk up to the front desk. The front desk, you know, I think it was like the assistant manager was working, and she's, you know, saying welcome, and these are the amenities you have, and like made some like, you know, horse jokes and that sort of things. But I was down there doing it, and like the whole lobby is full of people. It was an awesome scene. And someone's like, Darrin, and then they tap me and like, Henry's here. And I'm like, who? And I'm like, what's going on? Or Hank, or whatever they said. And I was just like a little bit confused. And then they brought me upstairs. Oh, he's not here. Oh, he's down there. They passed me up to some other guy. And then there's Henry. It's like they had to bring me through a whole, you know, maze of things before he was there. But anyway.
The horse, 1948, I think that's when Calgary started doing that, right?
Holy cow, really?
And that's when before that, like the Grey Cup wasn't necessarily a big destination for fans, but after that, it became one. So, hats off to Calgary. You could also give a happy honker to the Pope. Have you heard about the Pope?
Like the Grey Cup Pope?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well, I had no idea who this was. I don't have his name on me here, but I posted a over 5-minute video to Instagram today, and it was the Pope, who's a huge Bombers fan. He's one of these guys at the Grey Cup that wears all these pins and buttons and those kinds of things this was his 51st Grey Cup.
51.
Yeah, last year was his 50th, so that was a big deal. But this was in like the banquet room of our hotel here. He had a speech, he had jokes, and then he blesses all the fans who come and attend. Just hilarious. So check out my Instagram at Zach Schnitzer 48 if you want to see the Pope's opening ceremonies and blessing of the fans. It is incredible. Super funny guy.
Good afternoon from Bangkok, or to Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You think you're going to hit up the Football Reporters of Canada hospitality suite tonight?
Oh, I don't know if I have it in me, man.
Oh, shut up.
We just lost the Grey Cup to the Argos and Nick Arbuckle.
And you're in the Grey Cup City with amazing people from all across this country who love the same game you do.
Yeah.
And you're going to go to bed? Are you going to go to bed?
I might lie in bed and scroll on my phone, doom scroll, and listen.
I'm not going to let you do that.
You're going to make me come up.
I'm not going to let you stew in your sorrow.
Can I even go up to the Football Reporters of Canada suite with my jersey on? I don't even fit in because you guys are all objective reporters.
Yeah, I think we'll get you in there tonight.
I don't actually have any non-bomber clothing.
So, the Football Reporters of Canada, it's our professional organization. We have a hospitality suite at the Grey Cup every year. And this year I was responsible for a handful of things as an executive member, but one of them was getting the beer. I nearly got a double order. I nearly got like 2 huge multi-case donations from Molson. Like Molson dropped off like 20 cases. And then they call me from Toronto, same time as the horse. And they're like, yeah, we got 20 cases of beer for you. And I'm like, well, I already got 20 cases. Oh, Jen, Melissa, they're in my department, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, nearly had too much beer.
How can
Better
you
than
too
not
much
enough. Better than not enough. But you pay your Football Reporters of Canada dues, and you then get to drink for free at Grey Cup.
How did they let you on the executive? I don't get that.
I don't know.
There must have been a paucity of people.
Yeah, I was elected by acclamation.
Right?
There's an English word for it.
Acclamation?
Yeah, it means nobody else ran.
Oh,
So
okay.
I ran unopposed. No,
good for you.
No, Jeff Hamilton, myself, Jamie Nye in Regina, Tim Baines in Ottawa. That's our executive right
Ooh,
now.
Jamie Nye picking the Argos to win today. It's his fault.
Yeah, but you didn't pay your FRC dues because you're not a member of the Football Reporters of Canada. Why would you be?
Even wanna be.
You're not a football reporter. You are in Canada, but you're not the first 2, which is the important ones.
Football reporter? No.
But we are
I'm a
allowed to.
football supporter.
We're allowed to have a guest. I brought you there the other day.
Yeah, last night.
I'm bringing you there tonight.
Okay.
We're gonna have some chips. Got lots of chips. The CFLPA made a donation to us, as they always do. Big thanks to them. Gave us the little mini helmets, as they always
Sweet.
do. I'm taking this one because I have a black one from a few years ago, but I got all the. I think you guys remember the old YouTube set where I had all the CFL helmets. Should probably get that going again, eh?
Yeah, or give me those helmets.
And big thanks to TSN, huge sponsors of ours, both in the hospitality suite and with our breakfast. We inducted 2 new members into the Football Reporters of Canada Hall of Fame, the media wing. Bob Irving is a member. Ed Tate is a member. I know all of you out there are familiar with them. This year we inducted Steve Daniel. He is the vice president and head of statistics for the Canadian Football League. Outstanding man, huge help to countless media members who need details and stats and that sort of thing. And then everybody knows this guy, Mr. Football at TSN. Farhan Lalji inducted into our media wing of the Football Reporters of Canada this year as well. So congratulations to them. Yeah, I just wanted to draw some recognition to the FRC and some of the things we do.
Yeah, because you're an executive member, as you always tell me. He always tells me, he has to say, he's not a member, he has to tell me he's an executive member.
Why are you making up shit?
Because it's fun.
You got
It's the last show of the year.
Yeah. Well, okay. I don't know if I should make up stuff about you.
You should.
Yeah.
Nobody will believe you, though.
He's a Riders fan.
Yeah. Oh, man. I was giving it to the Riders fan after the game. I said, it's your fault we lost the Grey Cup, but at least we beat you. Hey, at least we beat the Riders in the West Final, Darren.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least
they beat the Riders.
Beat the Riders. Yeah. I will take that.
They beat the Riders.
No, we. It's a we.
They.
I'm a super fan. It's a we.
I'm a reporter. It's they.
For you, it's they.
They won. They lost.
You say they.
They
and
did.
I say we. You say they. And I say tomato, tomato.
Waiter's asking if we met Coach Phil.
No.
I did.
Oh, you did?
And I met his son.
Oh, nice.
And his son said, "Where's the swimming pool?" And Coach Phil, checked his son a little bit and said, "Hey, this is Darrin. Be nice." But no, he was very nice, very sweet. Good to see Coach Phil and so many people from across the league. I got a shout out to the CFL, right? Randy Ambrosi, 7 years is a long time to be commissioner. He had his wins, he had his losses, but wishing him, another Winnipegger, all the best, in his next chapter. But Lucas Barrett, Herb Fung, Olivier Poulin, MOP. I call him, he's OP. Everyone calls him OP. Olivier Poulin. I call him MOP. He's the real MOP. Christina Constable, Jeff Creever, Chris O'Leary. So many people at the CFL. I'm leaving people out.
Don Landry.
Don Landry. Saw him a couple times. Thank you for everything you guys do. This league is run very well. And, there'll be people out there that like shitting on the CFL. It's bullshit, this, that. Bullshit. They do a great job. Grey Cup goes off without a hitch. It's an incredible amount of work. It's a huge endeavor. Vancouver did a great job. The city, the Grey Cup committee, the festival. They got the Jonas Brothers for halftime. Like, whether you like the Jonas Brothers or not, they got the Jonas Brothers for halftime. That's huge. It's not Blue Rodeo again.
Yeah, fair.
All due respect to Blue Rodeo. I like Blue Rodeo.
To be fair, during the halftime, I went and peed and then got a Gatorade, but whatever. I don't care about the halftime show.
Yeah. There is Douglas Savage, my new hero, on YouTube. But you can find him on all the social medias. Go buy this book. Somebody in your life is going to love it. Maybe you want to read it and then pass it on. Maybe you want to get it as a gift for somebody. Go check it out. And what would be a great place to read this? The lounge at the 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙚𝙧𝙚 Restaurant.
There you go.
Just saying. Happy Honker, Walby's Warrior, Westwood wide to the right. Look, my wide to the right is run the frickin' ball. I'll leave it at that. Bonfire, Burning Point. I think we went through it all. Game balls.
Did I do my Westwood wide to the right?
I don't know. I don't think you did.
Well, Westwood wide to the right with under 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I've said this already. Zach Schnitzer had 6 completions, Darrin. 6 completions, friends on the chat. That just isn't going to get it done, and I'm not saying it's all on Zach. It's the receivers, maybe it's the O-line, maybe it's the play calling. It seemed like the Toronto defense knew exactly what we were going to do on almost every play.
Yeah.
Wherever Zach was going, it looked like there was 2 DBs there. He throws the pick to Benji Franklin when the Bombers are up 10-3, I believe. Just didn't get it done. And we'll leave that to smarter people than me to dissect it. Maybe you will dissect it. But 6 completions in 3.5 quarters of football, whether it's the Grey Cup or the preseason, right? Like, that's just not going to get it done. And it makes me wonder where the short and intermediate routes were all game. I know the Argo DBs knocked the ball down like 5 or 6 times, which are drive killers, but still, did they knock the ball down because the ball wasn't thrown on time or accurately? I don't know. But Zach Schnitzer had a rousing speech that if you go to the Bombers' Twitter or Instagram, I think Instagram they have it on there. He like a number of F-bombs, like a speech where you'd want to run through a wall for him before the game, and it's just sad. This was for me, Darrin, a legacy game for Zach Schnitzer.
Somebody in the live chat called it a statue game.
Yeah.
Chance for statues.
Yeah. If he would have won this game and played well and get 3 Grey Cups as a Bomber, something that only Kenny Plain has done. Kenny Plain won 4.
Schnitzer is under contract for next year. Some people in the live chat asking about getting into who's back next year, that sort of thing. They got some free agents. I know Dietrich Nichols is a free agent. I think Evan Holm is a free agent. Tyrell Ford is a free agent as a Canadian draft pick, 3rd year. Yeah. He's gonna get paid. Yeah. I think Willie J needs a contract. Don't hold me on that one. 3 Down Nation does a great job of this. They'll be coming out with their list, I have no doubt, in the next couple of days. Do you want to mention this? To me, this is what it's all about. James and the Peg. Zach and DB, you guys talked me off the cliff again this year. Thank you. You deserve a mental health award for these shows after losses.
That you know what, Darrin? That comment means more to me than maybe anything.
I told you,
Why
man.
are you hitting me?
Because I'm fired up. Because I'm fired up.
Honestly, like this.
I love that.
This just makes it worth it.
I love that.
This is awesome.
Thanks, James.
I couldn't even, Darrin, this is I'm telling tales out of school. I couldn't even do the show with you last year. This is out of school, and Darrin probably wouldn't want me to share this. Last year at the Grey Cup,
Yeah.
I had like probably 10 beer. I was so nervous watching the game on TV against Montreal that we lost in like the last play of the game. I was so hammered and so disappointed that I jammed out on Darrin. And I vowed to myself, that is so...
Jammed out. What does that mean?
Like I didn't do it. You never heard jammed out?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't want to use the word that I would use.
No, don't.
I don't want to speak about it.
Anyway.
I was just going to say, like, you flake or you ghost.
No, I flaked out on you.
Yeah.
And you were a gentleman about it. You're like, oh, don't worry. A few days later, I think I was like, I can't believe I did that. You're like, don't worry about it. I didn't even give it a second thought. You did the show by yourself. Like, that's how crazy I am. And I feel like I've maybe matured a little bit this year.
And wouldn't your father be proud?
Yes, he would.
His boy is growing. We never stop growing. I'm in my 40s. I almost said my age. Don't. I'm in my 40s, right? And I'm learning every day. I'm growing all the time. I'm a better person today than I was yesterday, a week ago, a year ago. I know I'm a better person today than I was a couple years ago. No doubt in my mind.
I thought you were pointing. I thought you were going to say, I know I'm a better person.
I know I'm a better person
than
this fucking piece of shit. No, I think your father would be proud of you because, you either win or you learn.
Yeah.
Right? You've had a lot of wins in your life.
I've had a few.
Your team went back to back, man.
Yeah, I was there for both of those Grey Cup wins.
Exactly.
And and just to make you feel better, Bomber fans, that second Grey Cup that we won in 2021 in Hamilton, like if Tim White doesn't take the single there, we lose that game. The Hamilton Tiger Cats went against the wind and drove it down to our 5-yard line. They would have kicked a field goal to win it if he doesn't take the single. And then we would have lost the game on that same drive, even with him taking the single. If not for Dietrich Nichols with like his pinky finger batting away the ball, or poking away the ball from Jalen Acklin, which would have been a walk-off touchdown. So that was a brilliant experience. One of the highlights, and my mother-in-law was there with me, so that was incredible. But yeah, Darrin, I know we're gonna get to our game balls and probably wrap it up in a minute, but
yeah, I'm thirsty.
This one hurts. It really hurts. Like, regardless of how they lost, they were blown out. Maybe that makes it a bit easier because in a close game, it's just a gut shot. But this one hurts me, man. Like, they are now, this is a golden era of the Bombers. They won 2
Doesn't
out of 5.
Doesn't that sound good, though? Like,
does.
It's not a dynasty.
No,
doesn't that sound good, though?
No,
golden era.
Let me stew for a second, okay? I think I'm speaking for many Bomber fans tonight.
All right.
This one freaking hurts. Dynasty denied. That's how you started off the show, and that's exactly what it is. And you can point to the coaching, the execution, the play calling, maybe even the roster. Maybe there's some guys on here who are a little bit long in the tooth. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the offseason. But if this brain trust, and I'm not going to name names because I think that's cruel right now. Well, maybe I'll name some. But if they bring back some of the same guys, I'm going to be surprised and maybe a little bit disappointed. There's some guys on this team that I think maybe need to not get paid as much or move on.
I'll just say, Grey Cup's in Winnipeg next year.
Yes, exactly.
You know what that means? It's load up and go. So
load up on who though?
Well, I think, Dalton Schoen.
Yeah.
They need to either upgrade or retain the offensive line. And, people will talk about Stanley and Pat Neufeld being, the elder statesman, to put it diplomatically, on that line. Jake Thomas, like Cameron Lawson, I think that was his job, and getting injured and being out for the season put Jake into a huge role. Jake's still got gas in the tank, man. He's still a good football player.
Okay.
Is he as good as Cameron Lawson? No. So, is Jake okay in a leadership and backup role next year? I think he would have been fine this year.
I would
I thought he
accept
played
that.
pretty damn good this year.
I would accept him in a leadership and backup role there.
But like Haba and Garbett with Willie Jefferson.
Garbett played well today.
Yeah.
He had a big goal line stand on
good
Toronto
player.
in the red zone.
He's a good player.
He is a good player.
Tony Jones, Kyrie Wilson. Yes, please. You know, if they can keep they'll have Michael Griffith under contract because he was a rookie. Redick Cramdy might need a deal. Redick Cramdy needs a deal. Tyrell Ford needs a deal.
I don't know about Kyrie Wilson, dude. I love that guy, and he's, you know, we all remember how he cradled that pick in the 2021 Grey Cup.
And now we're going to start talking about guys that are
gets
injury prone.
He's injury. Well, Darren, staying healthy is a skill.
The best ability is availability.
If you get injured,
I thought you were going to use the Walby line. If you can't make the club from the tub.
No, I wouldn't steal Walby's line. I could never deliver that like Walby. If you can't stay healthy and the Bombers, the GM is spending big money on you, that's money that doesn't go to someone else, either a big free agent or one of your own players that you simply need to retain, like a Tyrell Ford, for example.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them, and no shot against Kyrie Wilson. I've met him. He's a lovely man. But I don't want to see them lose Tyrell Ford to free agency, Darren, because they're paying someone who is injury prone. That's just the reality of sports. You can't do that.
Demerio Houston, they let walk in free agency, signed a big ticket with the Calgary Stampeders. Tyrell Ford
Canadian
is going to get paid, and the fact that he's Canadian, I mean, Brady, like, deservedly, clearly, broke the bank last year. And then they're paying Kenny Lawler and Dalton Schoen. Like Bomber fans need to understand this, okay? You're paying like 3 players on your offense the same as you're paying your quarterback. Like, actually, probably more.
Yeah.
Like, if Brady's in that 225, and then Schoen is like 150, 170, and then Lawler's like 170. Let's just say 175, 175, 225. Do that math. I can't do that math.
No, I wasn't.
225, 3, 4, 575. That's 575.
Yeah.
You'll let me know if I'm wrong.
Well, that's why
in the live chat.
That's why they needed all these rookie receivers and O-line
and that's why I talked about it on the pregame show. That's why Mike O'Shea early in the year said this is going to be a different year, guys. And you know, when they're 0-3, 0-4, or whatever it was, Stanley Bryant's like in tears. Jeff Hamilton wrote an amazing piece in the Free Press, really a 4,000 word opus. Yeah, I was joking and called it an opus, but like you know, Jeff spent tons of time on it. It's worth your read. It tells the tale of the whole Bombers season and how they knew it. You know, the brass, Mike O'Shea, he's no dummy. He knew they weren't going to be very good out of the gate. Did he think they were going to get pummeled by the Alouettes week 1? No. Did he think they were going to have a debacle and lose in overtime to the Argos in week 8 and fall to 2-6? No. But they were able to turn around and win, you know, 10 of their next 11 games or whatever it was, 8 straight. They had to work for it this year, and it would have been super sweet. And I mean, for them, that taste of victory would have been so sweet from where they were coming from, you know, but it didn't shake out that way.
Do you think Buck comes back next year, or does he take a head coaching job?
Well, Buck got a raise last year. I don't think it was a 1-year deal. You don't give a guy a raise and sign him for 1 year. So yeah, he's back. Well, it's if you're working for an organization and you both feel you deserve a raise, and you're like, well, I could take this head coaching job and then I'm going to get a whole bunch of money. I'm going to get $500,000-$600,000 to be the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but I want to stay here. Okay, we're going to give you a raise, right? And you know, this was reported as well. I think it was Jeff Hamilton who reported that, you know, they took some money from Richie Hall as a veteran defensive coordinator and you know, hired 2 young coordinators, first-year coordinators who were going to be making less money, and Jordan Younger and Mike Miller. And they gave that money to Buck to keep him in Winnipeg. So if you're that guy, you're Buck Pierce, and you get a raise, you're going to sign for 1 year? No, you want stability. Married a Winnipegger, lives in Winnipeg, likes it here, has been here the majority of his time in Canada. Now, definitely the majority of his time. You're going to sign a 1 year deal. You're going to sign a multi-year deal. Will he be able to apply for coaching jobs? Well, they've said they'll never step in front of somebody to, get a promotion. But, I'm biting my tongue a little bit here because there's other people in the organization that, are individuals of interest of other CFL teams for certain positions. Up high positions.
Fair enough.
Not commissioner.
No.
CFL teams.
Wade Miller could be the commissioner. He'd probably be a damn good one, but I hope he doesn't leave.
Yep. No, he's going to go absolutely crush the Grey Cup next year.
Yeah.
Like Wade said it like jokingly. I think it was at the gala dinner or some event. He's like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he essentially said like it's going to be the best Grey Cup there's ever been. Like he's not going to let anybody beat Winnipeg.
Just hopefully we're in it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we learned this year what it's going to take, and I'll love to Buck Pierce, but it'll be interesting to see what happened to our offense in this game, like to break it down further. And hopefully, I'm not saying it's all on Buck, but I'm hoping that whatever it is, Buck learns from it, because this is 3 Grey Cups in a row where our offense has either thrown picks in the red zone, made bad play calls at the wrong time, haven't run the ball enough. Teams will stack the box on us and say, beat us with your arm. They can't do it. So what is it going to take? How are they going to open up the run game? How are they going to feed Brady Oliveira, whether it's the run or the pass?
That's the thing, though. They can beat you with their arm. Zach,
they haven't in the last 3 Grey Cups. They haven't in the Grey Cup. Last 3, that's a pattern. Two great defenses in the Argos and the Alouettes have figured us out.
Yeah, what do they say? 2's a fluke and 3's a streak.
Yeah. Now we're talking about that streaker again.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, people want to go to bed. Let's do our game balls.
I wanna go drink some beer because I haven't in a long time.
Yeah, you've been busy. Being an executive member, he's been very busy doing things.
I want to get to some comments here that I've saved in the live chat, and still 650 people watching live. Awesome.
That's crazy.
Shout out to everybody in Winnipeg or wherever you are, Bangkok, Thailand, or Big Beaver, Saskatchewan. Or what is it, Beaver? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Beaver.
Big Beaver Jerry.
Yeah, of course. It went down there, but I think some of you maybe saw it. Matt Hyman says, you sell those shirts with the blue bee. This is the new colorway. What do you guys think? Those are the Winnipeg Jets colors. I'm going to work my tail off to get some novel, another good English word for you, not the book, not a novella like this, but
that's
novel.
Not a novel word to me, Darrin.
Novel meaning
pretty
but I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to everybody.
You're insulting the fans.
I'm talking to you.
Listeners.
I'm talking to you. I'm not
they
insulting them.
They know what the word novel means. Come on. That's not a highfalutin multisyllabic word.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
You just said 2 that I...
Polysyllabic. It's a friend of mine, polysyllabic.
Good dude.
Nice lady. Polly.
It's Irish.
Jeez, we got to finish this.
Some new Jets content. I'm going to work my tail off to do some new Jets content for you guys, kind of, supplement my NHL.com work. But are we going to sell some of this gear? Yeah, probably. Absolutely. Yeah, Vicky Short says it. Beer drinking time. Boys.
Vicky, 128, baby.
And then quickly, DL14 had a super chat, $6.99.
Nice.
There's a can of beer for you. Mm-hmm. You get a nice one from the LC. Does Chris Streveler play a larger role next year? Asks DL14. All the best and looking forward to next year. I can't cut the lawn without listening to your show. Yes.
That's amazing.
Love that.
That's right.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for all those comments, and DL, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. How you support us? Listen to us while you're cutting the grass, while you got 10 minutes in the car, whatever you're doing, and share it with your friends, right? Share it with your friends. This is one of my friends that I always enjoyed sharing things with. This of course, Ted Wyman, who we lost recently. This was a great thing. Just one of the things that some FRC members did. David from Candid Frank Live. Frank, of course.
Oh, Morasuti.
Yes, Morasuti. Thank you. Made this up. We
That's
put
awesome.
this, I have Ted's flowers here. Grab those, would you? Thanks. These were given to Ted, and we put this up in the press box with his press pass. Ted had.
Should I put them down now?
Yeah, they're honestly making my nose tickle a little bit. I had to hold those in the shuttle back. Ted had the best seat in the press box tonight. Literally
Nice.
the best. He was right next to the head statistician. The best seat in the press box, where he deserved to be. Miss you, Ted. Love you. But yeah, I mean, I remember Ted saying to me when I launched Bonfire, he's like, "I'm so happy you did this." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" Right? And he's just like, you got Hustler and the Illegal Curve guys and you, and it was before Kenny and Rennie. But you got like Top Line Media and the Nolan Hockey Podcast and like, Level Flight Podcast. Shout out to those guys. All of these digital media forms to keep sports fans engaged, right? And have these conversations and talk about our teams. Ted, although he was a writer in, an ink-stained wretch, as they, affectionately refer to themselves, Teddy was a huge, huge supporter of, just sports fans and sports media. This has been a shitty week without Ted. It's going to be a shitty everything without Ted moving forward. But man, we miss you, Teddy. Glad you were looking down on us and everybody this week and beyond. Digress from the sad into the perspective, right? And being thankful for what we have. Thank you to everybody out there for being with us. You know what? The sun will come up tomorrow. The Bombers host the Grey Cup next year. It's a big championship year in Winnipeg. The CEBL, Canadian Elite Basketball League championship weekend is in Winnipeg in August. So it's a big year in 2025. So, hey, the victories wouldn't be as sweet if you didn't have these defeats you have to swallow.
If we win it next year, it'll be even sweeter. Yeah. Okay, game balls. Let's get out of here.
Oh, you want to do game balls?
Yeah, aren't we going to do game balls?
Sure.
We have to.
Okay.
You can't break from tradition. What? Give me one. We'll each do one.
I'll go offense, defense. I'll go Willie Jefferson and Ontario Wilson.
Yeah. Okay. I had Ontario, but I'll give a couple to the Argos because they won the Grey Cup.
Okay.
Winton McManus, their middle linebacker. 6 tackles, an interception, which he returned 58 yards, and 3 knockdowns for Winton McManus.
He's a player, man.
Fantabulous game.
He is a player.
Yeah, just part of that really stingy Toronto defense.
Stud. Yep.
Tonight. And the other one, of course, is Nick Arbuckle.
Nick Foles.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done.
Nick Arbuckle was 70% against the best secondary in the CFL, Darrin, for 252, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Although one of those picks is to Willie Jefferson. I mean, can you really blame someone for throwing a pick to Willie Jefferson if he throws his arms up? I don't understand how he even catches those. But, I mean, what a story for Nick Arbuckle. When Chad Kelly went down with a broken leg, that's when I was like, I got to buy a ticket to this game because we're playing a backup quarterback with our defense. We should have this game. And we didn't. Credit to Dinwiddie and that game plan, to their offensive line, to their receivers who all chipped in. 7 of them had over 20 yards.
Yeah.
Their biggest receiver was Mackay Polk for 42. That's not that much. They chipped in with the run game as well. And Nick Arbuckle sliced and diced us through 2 huge touchdowns, both 17-yarders, and gets the MVP. It's a Disneyland moment for him, given what he's been through, a journeyman quarterback, cut, release, blah, 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 almost retires. So, he credit to him. It's a nice story. Despite despite my own heartbreak here, that's a nice story for him. And hopefully he gets a few more years out of his career because of it. Yeah, Waiters is right. Nick Arbuckle did what Ryan Dinwiddie couldn't do in 2007. Well, bit of that was Ryan Dinwiddie's first ever start. This wasn't Nick Arbuckle's first start. But anyway, yeah.
Backcountry shit. Okay, Bauming is so disillusioned by the team he can't see the red flags. I saw a team that went from being garbage early in the year. They were garbage. They were 0-4. Do you understand what it is? Like, you play an 18-game season, you're 2-6. You're 2-6. Like, I said it on the pregame show. It's not like your season's done, but it's like you got to bust your ass to squeak into the playoffs.
Life support.
This team won the division and then kicked the crap out of the Riders in the West Final.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm disillusioned. I can't see the red flags. This is the reality of football. This isn't a 22-man hockey roster where you either got it or you don't. Football is nuanced and dynamic. Like the chess game that is game planning and play calling, trick plays and schemes and, different tactics you can have in game, special teams and how, black and white it can be in determining a game. You can get lucky on any given Sunday, right? There's no best of 7 series where the best team wins because they got 7 games to play or, 6 or 5 and one team dominates. But there's just too much happening where it's just you either got it or you don't. This Blue Bombers team has the principles in place. Another big word. Principle with an A-L at the end. Principles in place. The pillars.
No, it's not A-L at the end. That's principle of a school. You mean L-E.
No, I don't mean L-E. I mean A-L.
Oh, like the people.
Yes. They have the principal ingredients, right? They have excellent ownership oversight. It's a community-owned organization, okay? Wade Miller, excellent president and CEO. The business, the marketing, the oversight of football operations. They have, in my opinion, it's the best triumvirate. There's another big English word.
That one, yeah.
The biggest triumvirate, the best triumvirate in the CFL. Wade Miller, the best GM, Kyle Walters, the best head coach, Mike O'Shea. You have the best fan base in the league.
Yeah.
Incredible stadium. And I mean, like decisions are going to have to be made. Quarterback, defensive, tons of players on the defensive side. Is Willie Jefferson 28-year-old Willie Jefferson? No, but he's been in the league for 10 years. He's won 4 Grey Cups. 3?
3.
He's won 3 Grey Cups. He won with Edmonton as a rookie in 2015 in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And, now been to 3 that he hasn't won. The O-line, we said it going into this year. They're aging. They're going to have to make changes. There's lots that needs to be done. But, hey, welcome to football. It's the forever change, right? They're going to find the next Dietrich Nichols and Evan Holm and Tyrell Ford and Retta Cramdy. Those guys are going to get drafted. They're going to find the next Taiwan Garbett. And, Eric Lofton played well once he settled into his role at right tackle. Work will be done. Ontario Wilson, 1,000-yard receiver as a rookie. Incredible, right?
Big game tonight.
They're going to find these guys, and they're going to continue to try to win every year. When the triumvirate, the Canadian Mafia started, it was, we want to be competitive every year. They have the principles in place.
Yeah.
So rest assured, I don't think I'm disillusioned about red flags. I know this game of football. I know it better than almost anything else in my life. I try really, really, really hard to be objective and call a spade and be real for you out there, because you deserve that. Just like you deserve the perspective that you probably share with this super fan here in Schnitzy. And I think that's honestly like one of my favorite things in the whole world is having this balance and back-to-back with you.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Well,
you got a rhyme to wrap up the 2024 season?
Well, Bomber fans, we didn't get it done this year, but let's all go drown our sorrows in beer. Sayonara, everybody.